Pam Bondi says America will collapse if what's truly in the Epstein files were to be released.
You know, sometimes I just can't believe the audacity on people. You got Jake and Logan out here giving opposite on their take on halftime.
There's also people like Jake Paul, who called him a fake American citizen and actually tried to get everyone to boycott the halftime show by turning it off. He said, let's rally together and show big corporations they can't just do whatever they want without consequences.
How is big corporations doing whatever they want by having Bad Bunny there? Were they doing whatever they wanted when they had Kendrick Lamar there? Or did Jay-Z have a little something to do with that? Big corporation. I don't know. You tell me.
Turn off this halftime. A fake American citizen performing who publicly hates America. I cannot support that.
A fake American citizen. How is being born in Puerto Rico fake? Is being born in New York fake? What about Chicago? Maybe Detroit. I guarantee you being born in California to a MAGA supporter is definitely a fake citizen. See the hypocrisy.
On top of that, though, this is where things get a little bit confusing on this front. Logan Paul, he responded to Jake saying, I love my brother, but I do not agree with this. Puerto Ricans are Americans, and I'm happy that they were given the opportunity to showcase the talent that comes out of the island.
Now, see, to somebody like Dylan Page, it probably is confusing, but he doesn't know how the whole program is to keep us at opposite ends. So now you got two brothers that live in Puerto Rico claiming two different things. That's just PR, my brother. That just gives you more to talk about. Keep clicking, keep clicking. You understand? The more we are divided, the easier we are to conquer. And trust me, these two brothers are conquering because of the division that they support. Give them something to talk about, just more money.
A lot of people were criticizing Jake because obviously him and his brother live in Puerto Rico to get away from taxes.
The hypocrisy. I remember back in the day, they would have probably ran up in that mansion and just burned it to the ground. Meanwhile, back to my usual shtick. Let's see what's happening in the world of politics.
And when it comes to Minneapolis, we're seeing images like yesterday of a woman who was stopped by federal agents. She was dragged out of her car. I know DHS always has a response to this as to why they're acting that way. There are Americans who see this and say this looks like Putin's Russia. What is your response to that?
That's ridiculous. You know what? In Minneapolis, let's
glitching. Oh, I was about to go off script.
Let's remember who set the stage here. First of all, the Biden administration
Biden. There it is. I forgot we're supposed to blame everything at the start on Biden, even though immigration didn't start with Biden. Neither did ICE. But we can't accept responsibility for any of this. But what's really ridiculous is having children locked up like criminals. What's really ridiculous is having kids doing chores inside prisons. What's really ridiculous is having parents work for $1 a day. That's really ridiculous.
A 9-year-old girl from Venezuela, Suzette Fernandez, speaking to ProPublica, describing what life is like for her at Dili, where she's been held for over 50 days.
Honestly, I don't feel good because there's always an officer around, like bothering me. I can't go anywhere, and if I need to go to the bathroom, they won't let me because I have to go with my mom. So it's annoying, and I just have to stay in my room.
But I told y'all a long time ago about the exploiting of the H-2A workers, very reminiscent of the slave trade, because I seen the GEO corporations and all of them trying to make laws so they could work these people for $1 a day. But I didn't expect us to have the kids locked up working. That's what I didn't expect. I'm going to vote to use them as slaves, not as human beings. Think about that next time you vote. Now, I just want to say, knowing what we know about the Trump administration and how they protect pedos, I don't know how many people working inside the ICE facilities or actual ICE agents that are pedos. But we know that nobody is going to go over and beyond to expose them. So if any incidents are happening in there, you can best believe they're covering it up. Now, I just want to say, I don't know how long America going to continue to play this, game of, no, we're not racist. I know that this is just a different face on an old scheme going all the way back to the natives, the Native Americans. When, they used to take their children and try to make them assimilate, going all the way back to slavery. When they took their children and tried to make them assimilate. We can go on and on and on to, I don't know, millions of stories of this same slave mentality that the MAGAs is trying to get you. They are groomers. They are grooming you to accept the new form of slavery.
Past year.
I cannot comment on ongoing.
I'm not asking you to comment on
personnel
specific
action.
investigation. How many of your agents have been disciplined? I'm just asking for the total.
I'll
for
get that
excessive
number
report.
to you. I don't have it in front of me.
All right. I sent you a letter asking that question and haven't received a response. Will you commit to sending a response to me, please?
So he sent the question in before they came to the hearings, and they're not going to answer it. When Pam Bondi comes up, it's going to be a repeat of everything is under investigation. So I can't answer anything. She doesn't want to perjure herself. He doesn't want to perjure himself. They know the answers to everything. But this is the game they play.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'd like you to view this video.
This is video of what appears to be pepper spray thrown by a federal agent into Rafael Veraza's car.
You okay, mama? You okay?
Seconds later, he realized his daughter, 1-year-old Ariana, was in the back seat, also battling the chemicals.
Now, this is a family of United States citizens who were out to get groceries at a Sam's Club in Chicago. When they arrived, they could see that there was a chaotic operation in the parking lot. They turned their vehicle to leave, at which point your agents sprayed pepper spray out of their vehicle and into the driver's side window of the Veraza's family vehicle. Is it proper procedure to aim pepper spray into the window of a moving vehicle?
I'm not familiar. I don't have all the details on this. It's an ongoing
I'm not asking about
investigation, but to answer your specific question,
Is it proper
we
procedure?
try to avoid that. No, it's not.
Try to avoid it. Because you understand it's dangerous, right? Not just for the driver, but for pedestrians, for other people who could be hit by a car if a driver is blinded, right?
I 100% understand that, but you're talking about intentional versus not intentional.
Well, now listen.
Not intentional or intentional. If two cars are driving beside each other, what makes it non-intentional for you to spray out your window into another car? Why would he even mention that? How could that be what the?
And in a vehicle in one of these situations.
Scott, reclaiming my time. From the video, this was clearly intentional. And you know as well as I do that in any other law enforcement agency, if an officer did this, they would be put on leave, investigated, and likely disciplined. Were any of your agents ever investigated or disciplined for this incident?
I'll have to get back to you on this incident. I believe it's still an
So you
ongoing
don't know.
investigation, but we have at least.
I'd like to.
No, he know. But here we go again. Back to the old slave mentality, because back in the day, it was illegal to do whatever you want, right? For a Caucasian male man to assault a black or brown person, all he had to do was say, well, they did this, that, and the third. No investigation necessary. Boy, you should have kept your head down, should have ran. And that's exactly what these, fake podcasters keep telling us. Keep your head down, stay inside. Don't nobody say no. You shouldn't have been outside. He wouldn't have got killed. That's the America you want to live in? Like the Jews did? Want to live, coats up over your head, hoping nobody recognize what nationality you are, hoping no police officer stops you with your papers. That's the America y'all want? So when this whole immigration thing started You know, I told y'all way back when, before Trump even got elected, that this is not about immigration. It's about controlling the vote. It's about locking up as many people as they possibly can. They're going to start off with saying that it's about drugs. Then they're going to start off and say it's about gangs. And then they're going to say it's election fraud. And you know what I mean? Like, it just never ends with them. It never ends. People forget how this started way back when Trump, the first fraud thing he ever said was when Ted Cruz beat him in a primary somewhere. That was the first time this was said. And he has never let it go. Never let it go.
One of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. They said he was quitting the race and to vote for him.
He tweeted, either a new election should take place or Cruz results nullified.
A lot of people didn't think I should even go to Iowa, and I came in. Actually, I came in probably first, if you think about it.
Well, earlier Trump tweeted that Ted Cruz illegally stole the Iowa caucus. He has since deleted that tweet, taking the word illegal out of it.
So like I said, this is nothing new. You know, back in the day when I told y'all, yo, man, y'all remember we made slaves out of the people of the Taliban? Made slaves out of the people from ISIS? Made slaves out of the people from Hamas? We shipped them to a whole nother country, say, hey, y'all take care of them. They still there. They still there. Kids 20 years old grew up in lockdown. They're not in prison. They're in an open air prison. They don't even have walls. They got tents. And they've been kept there for over 20 years. We displaced them. Now we're doing it here. And I warned y'all this would happen. I said, if you don't care about them over here, just wait till you see when they do it here. Then we'll see if you care. Then we'll see if you care. Now that we got Americans being locked up and shipped all over the place and people got to find them and they know they're American. They're just doing it on purpose because they're the opposition. They're the political enemy of Trump. We got about 6 people running the country now. That's it. You can look at the polls. Ain't nobody in America really with this except the extremely racist. There's about 6 people that is in prominent positions that are running the country. Damn what the whole of America says. You can look at the Super Bowl and see what we think. You can look at the Kid Rock performance versus the Bad Bunny performance. Nobody's talking about the Super Bowl. Kudos to the Seattle Seahawks, but let's face it, wasn't nothing really exciting. You know, we knew who was going to win by the second quarter, right? You know what I mean? Wasn't no fantastic comeback. It was the same rigmarole all through the game. Pretty much boring until Bad Bunny came. But Trump wanted to slay Bad Bunny on top of, he didn't even watch his own TPUSA event. He watched Bad Bunny, showed it at the White House. Talk about how nasty it looked, but yet had burlesque dancers running all around the White House. But he's talking about them twerking on TV and they twerking live right in front of him in the White House. So the hypocrisy is just off the chain these days. But we need to learn how to fight with our economic power and with putting pressure on your local leaders. You need to be supporting the ACLU. You need to support Democracy Docket. These are the people that are fighting these cases. These are the people that are getting your people out of ICE when they try and hide them. Okay? Know who the people are that are fighting. Or else we're going to end up with half America locked up. Might be on a special citizenship basis because you're a national threat and only allowed to stay within your confined 6 blocks of your open air prison, like Gaza. Y'all don't know that that was a test run? Pay attention.
Been a reinterpretation by ICE after 30 years of agreeing that the law says one thing. All of a sudden, overnight, ICE shifted its position and said something completely different.
Just like they said that you're not allowed to carry guns. Oh, you're not allowed to carry guns to a protest. Oh, you're not allowed to carry guns and incite violence, I guess, at a protest. I don't know how many times I've heard this version of this, But this is what I'm saying. They just keep making stuff up as they go. But they can say anything they want on TV. It's when they get in the court of law, which is why you see these hearings. They side say, I don't know. I'll get back to you. Right.
At least entitled to a bond hearing. Some people deserve to get out. Some people may not. But everybody has a right to a bond hearing.
It will mean some people will not be detained for months, if not years, waiting out their case in detention.
And so in the last week, we've seen the federal courts agree with us here in Colorado in 5 decisions in 6 business days, which is a pretty monumental set of decisions.
Now, see, that happened in Colorado, but in other states, it's going the opposite way. Now, I'm trying to make it very plain and clear. We are definitely headed for a new style of slavery.
This case isn't about immigrants. This case is about the government misinterpreting and the law and then trying to keep hundreds of thousands of people in mandatory detention as
a result. Not about deportations. They are trying to get a whole nother free workforce. That's what made America so great. Slavery, free workforce. That's what brought us up to the standards that we were at.
Two things, because the trolls in my comment section are fucking idiots. First, being inside the United States illegally is not a crime. It is a civil offense. It is a misdemeanor to enter into the United States, cross the border illegally. So is speeding or running a stop sign. But many people who are undocumented in the United States entered legally and their visa expired or the Trump regime revoked their protected status. That is not a crime. That is a civil offense. No prison time, no criminal prosecution. While the Trump regime claims it's removing the worst of the worst criminal aliens from our streets, immigrant detention centers are not part of the criminal justice process. Immigration detention is categorized as civil detention, meaning people detained there are not meant to be detained as punishment. It is simply a place to hold people while their immigration case moves through the system. The system is incredibly, horribly backlogged. So that can mean people stay in immigration detention for months or more. Some may be able to make bond and be released pending their hearings, but many cannot afford bond. Because this is not criminal court or imprisonment, people moving through the immigration system have the right to an attorney, but one will not be provided for them. They have to access and pay for one themselves.
So that is the point that I'm trying to make. Now they're trying to take away all of those rights, which they've been trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? But the accountability for all of this is just astounding. I just hope we make it to the midterms. I just hope he doesn't go full authoritarian so we can start to claw back some of these horrendous things and start putting people in these rooms again and start locking them up. That's what needs to happen immediately. But we got to go through the justice system, and we all know, y'all don't know, but I got a hunch. The reason why this stuff is playing out the way it is because more superior people are in the Epstein files, like superior court people. That's what I believe.
All right, listen, there has been no accountability in your agency under the Trump administration. None. Your agency has repeatedly been caught on tape using unnecessary violence against civilians, and you can't even tell me if any of these agents have been investigated or disciplined. You are supposed to be making people safer, and instead your agents are being unnecessarily violent. And that is why the Trump administration has lost the trust of the American people on immigration. Understand, it's not just the actions of the agents in the field, it is the lack of accountability from the top.
So another thing I want to hit on real quick is the fact of how they've taken over the airways and the millions and millions of views that are going towards the right, because Fox is still the dominant, media corporation. They still have more shows on TV drawing in more views than any other outlet. So no matter if we're talking cable, no matter if we're talking streams, live, whatever it is, they make sure they flooded the zone with everything they could. So when you're looking at the statistics on who has the most top shows, this is the grooming of America. This is being put out there so that you almost have no choice but to watch. And they are grooming people to be used to this new slave mentality, to be able to accept that, yes, children of slaves should be working and they should be locked up with no due process. So it matters when we talk about Paramount and CBS and all these Oracle that are gathering Prime. You know what I mean? That is the grooming of America. Pay attention. We need to economically withdraw from these stations, from these supporters of what's happening in America. Period. I'm just saying.